The woman who's 80 years old has dementia. She took the family dog out for a quick walk and she never returned. This happened in Emery County. It's kind of like the heart of Utah. And the husband and the rest of the family, along with the neighbor, started looking for her. They searched throughout the night looking for her. They went into town the next morning and contacted the local sheriff's office, and they sent up their search and rescue to start looking for her throughout the next day. I didn't receive the call probably a couple hours before dark. I'm Officer James Thomas. I work with the Utah Division of Wildlife. And that's Canine Kip right there. He works with me every day. We end up spending the rest of that night looking. So this would be night two. The temperatures that day probably were around 100. At night, they would drop down pretty cool, probably around 50, 60 degrees. After 3 days, we were concerned. What put us in the right area was her dog. The night that I showed up, some of the neighbors were reporting hearing a dog barking off in the distance up on the mountainside. The search and rescue really never thought of her being that high up because, 80 years old with the dementia, we didn't think she was crossing rivers or jumping fences. About 3:30 that night, we actually heard that dog barking again. So it kind of gave us a really good area where to start looking, and that's where we spent our efforts that next morning. When me and the neighbor set out, the neighbor was actually the one that came up on her. The dog, when we got in close, started barking a little bit, which indicated us to exactly where she was. When we got up there, the dog was sitting right next to her. It's pretty amazing. That dog was so loyal to her that she would stay with her. The dog growled, barked at us a few times, and I imagine that's what that dog was doing, was barking at deer or anything else in the middle of the night to try to protect the woman. The dog became friendly really quickly with us. The family says she slept quite a bit, so I imagine she's sleeping during the day in the shade. There was a little bit of water where we found her, but not very much, and I don't know if she would be drinking from it. I couldn't answer that question. And then, of course, yeah, the warmth in the evenings. It's unbelievable. Without her dog being with her, it could have been a completely different story. We would have kept looking and looking for her, but the amount of time it took us, it could have been longer. And without the dog barking throughout the night and giving us an idea where to look, that dog was the hero of the story for sure. The woman doesn't remember much further than 10 minutes, so she thought she was only gone for about 10 minutes. She didn't realize she was gone for 3 days, and just happy to be there. She was apologetic that we were out looking for her because she thought she was only gone for a few minutes, but she was super happy, especially when we got to explain to her she's going to get a helicopter ride out of there. She just was ecstatic.